Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and on the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, Seattle principal asked parents to use Antifa tactics to protect a campus drag show. But before we get to any of that, time for your daily dose of adrenaline.
You want me to stick this into my heart? Are you f***ing nuts?
It's amazing to me that everybody who used to be medical experts are now economic experts. It's amazing to me that everybody who used to be political experts are now economic experts. I feel like Ted Mosby from How I Met Your Mother in his Blinkin' You'll Miss It role in Not Another Teen Movie, where he's kind of the escort around school explaining to you how things go, and he looks at all the kids in the dance floor who are parodying every single 80s movie, and he would go, "You would never know that every single kid in this high school is a professional dancer." Guys, unless you are an actual economist listening to the show, and even if you are an actual economist, you don't know jack squat. I am the first to admit when I don't know something. I had to do a lot of research to get caught up on tariffs and economic trade policy. And I'm going to tell you something. Everybody is guessing because there are too many variables. And anybody who tells you they know, they don't know. Admitting that you don't know is the best place to be right now on a day like today. So many things are variables of what's going on. It's like trying to do a time warp with a bunch of whales in the belly of your Klingon cruiser, and you're trying to fly them back to talk to a probe so you can save Earth in the far-flung future, and you just don't have all the variables at your disposal. Captain Kirk turns to Spock, who for decades at that point was the one who knew everything. You got a question, you go to Spock. Spock's going to answer your question because he's brilliant. And then he has to make his best guess. And Captain Kirk looks at him and goes, "A guess? Spock, that's extraordinary." Because Spock admitting he didn't know was probably the most humble thing Spock has ever done in that entire show. And anybody who doesn't watch Star Trek is thinking to themselves, wow, I didn't realize Ari was such a huge nerd right now. Nobody knows what they are talking about. Does the president have guesses? Absolutely. Do the people in Congress have guesses? Absolutely. Do the economists have guesses? Absolutely. But what's fascinating to me, if nothing else, I want you to think about this for a second. The Democrats are saying the complete opposite of what they were saying just a couple of years ago. Just a couple of years ago, these Democrats were all in favor of tariffs. And now they think they're the worst thing under the sun because they can politically attack Republicans with them. Let's fire up the old time machine. I think we should go back in time for this specific clip. Let's go way, way back to 1996. So we're zipping back to 1996. Nancy Pelosi is speaking in Congress. Listen to what she said.
In terms of tariffs, I think it's interesting to note that the average U.S. MFN tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States is 2%, whereas the average Chinese MFN tariff on U.S. goods going into China is 35%. Is that reciprocal? In terms of jobs, this is the biggest and cruelest hoax of all. The China trade supports 170,000 jobs in the United States, 170,000 jobs, whereas our imports from China support 10 million jobs at least. The fact is that U.S.-China trade is a job loser.
Wait a second. Hang on, because that's not what the Democrats are saying today. Donald Trump's going to wreck the economy. Donald Trump's going to kill the economy. Hang on. Let's go forward in time a little bit. 2008, not that long ago. Here's Bernie Sanders.
Further, what they have said is that we need to not worry about manufacturing in America, because what we should establish is a policy of unfettered free trade. We don't need tariffs. What we need is to allow corporate America the freedom to throw American workers out on the street, people who are making 15, 20, 25 bucks an hour, health care, pensions, throw them out on the street, because somehow, Madam President, we are going to create wealth in America and good-paying jobs in America as we shut down plants, we move to China, corporations there pay workers 20, 30 cents an hour, and we bring the product back into this country. And anyone who goes shopping in a mall knows how difficult it is today to find the product made in America. But that is the philosophy. And I have to say, in that regard, the champion, and he is honest on this one. Senator McCain has been criticized recently for not being the most honest candidate we have seen in terms of his ads and so forth. He has been honest on this one. He is the lead advocate of unfettered free trade. And that's an also important part of this right-wing ideology, that it is good for America that corporations can go to China and bring products back into this country.
That's Bernie Sanders criticizing free, global, open trade of what we had before yesterday. Let's go back to 2018. Here's Chuck Schumer.
Look, I think the president's doing the right thing. China has been taking advantage of us for two decades. They're stealing our intellectual property, which means stealing our good-paying jobs. And I, frankly, am closer on this issue, not on many, but on this issue with President Trump than I was with Presidents Bush or Obama, because they did nothing to tell China off. Now, China, of course, will respond. But if they know we're strong and we're not going to back off, they will back off. They have far more to lose than we do. They have a $300 billion trade surplus with us. So I'm looking out, number one, for jobs. You know, if General Electric moves jobs to China, they're not unhappy, but my New York workers in Schenectady are unhappy. And so you can't let the international business companies who don't give a hoot about where their factories are govern this. You have to do what's good for the American worker.
5 minutes ago, or I should say, just a few years ago, 7 years ago, Chuck Schumer was agreeing not just with these policies, but with Donald Trump, who was the president in 2018. Let's go back to last year, to Joe Biden. What did he say?
That's why today I'm announcing new tariffs in key sectors of the economy that will ensure that our workers are not held back by unfair trade practices.
Okay. So the Democrats agreed with this 5 minutes ago, because up until 5 minutes ago, this was actually what they supported. It's pro-union policy, bringing back jobs to America, not exporting jobs. But now that Donald Trump's doing it, it's bad, because Orange Man bad. You guys were all in favor of this 5 minutes ago. The hypocrisy is absolutely insane. And this is how you lost people like Batya Unger Sargon. Our friend Batya, who used to join us weekly for the Friendly Face-Off, was talking on Fox News, talking on Piers Morgan, talking on all the shows about why she supports the trade policy. This is what she said last night.
Let's be clear about what we're seeing right now. This market sell-off is Wall Street trying to short President Trump's agenda. They are betting against the American worker. It's utterly despicable. Instead of doing what President Trump is doing, which is saying we're going to invest heavily in our middle class. We are no longer going to be a country in which our economy is an upward funnel of wealth from the hardest working Americans into the pockets of the international global elites. Wall Street is trying to control the president's agenda with this totally anti-American sell-off. And I think it's unbelievable that the president is not caving and that he is standing strong with the agenda that he promised the American people. This is what he was given a mandate to do. And it is so exciting to see somebody actually make good on the promises they made to the American people.
I don't give investment advice. I don't. I'm not allowed to by FCC regulations. I can't give you investment advice. If I had money to invest right now, I would be investing in factories in America. I would want to build chip factories. I would want to build car factories. I would be investing in American manufacturing. And you know why I would be doing it? Because the federal government is on my side. and I'll get to do what I want, to a limit, of course. Why did all these companies invest in EVs? Because the federal government was subsidizing it. Here, the federal government is trying to help you out by bringing back all these companies to America. People who are building big factories right now, construction workers, they're about to get a boom in business, my friends. The people who build these big factories. You're about to see a whole industrial revolution like we haven't seen in decades, since all these jobs got shipped off all over the world. 5 minutes ago, the Democrats were celebrating the free trade thing also because Joe Biden was the one who was doing it. Joe Biden announces we're going to make EVs as far as the eye can see. And what happens? Ford ships the jobs off to Mexico immediately to build the truck that Joe Biden drove around, which I can't believe they let him drive a truck around, the Ford Lightning. And that thing's been canceled now, or significantly scaled back. You know what this is like? My house this morning. So my friends over at All Red Heating and Air Conditioning are installing a new AC system for me. Mine went kaput. If you went to my house this morning, and I'm watching it on the Ring doorbell, you know what you'd see? Holes in the walls, electrical wires going every which direction. And I have a beautiful house, thank God. Thank God I have a beautiful house. But it's a disaster right now. And you know what? I assume my friends at All Red Heating and Air Conditioning know exactly what they're doing because they've been doing this for 30 years. They've been a sponsor of KVI for a long time. I take John Carlson's recommendation. I take everybody else here at KVI. They go, you got to go with All Red Heating and Air Conditioning. And everything shows me they know what they're doing. And they're installing everything in my house, and I assume everything is going to be fantastic. But if you come along it right now, it looks like an absolute disaster. Now, for me to say that to somebody who's looking at their 401k or looking at their stock portfolio and having an absolute heart attack, seeing what's going on with the markets right now, I'm not trying to make you feel better. I'm not, because nothing I say is going to make you feel better. It's not. At the same time, you come along a construction project right in the middle, you're going to have an absolute freak out. An absolute freak out. We are already seeing countries wanting to negotiate with the United States on trade policy. You're seeing other countries like Canada doubling down on not negotiating. You know why? Because of politics. This new guy, Carney, who wants to be the permanent prime minister, not just a temporary prime minister, he realizes his polling shoots up anytime he challenges Donald Trump. So for him, he's going to keep pushing back against Donald Trump. Pierre Poilievre, who is the conservative candidate out there, was leaps and bounds ahead of this guy. So much so that Justin Trudeau had to drop out of being prime minister and not run again. That's how bad his polling was. But now, because Donald Trump bad, Orange man bad, and Canadians are more lefty than us, by the way. For all of you who wanted Canada to be the 51st state, let this be a lesson to you. You're dealing with a bunch of lefties. Even their conservatives are lefties. But he realizes he benefits from going against Donald Trump. And the Democrats realize this is their moment. Attack, 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 attack on the economy. Because most people see the headlines. Most people hear about the stock market. And they freak out. Because they learned in history class there was the Great Depression and the stock market crash, et cetera, Black Tuesday, all that. They know some of that. Our public schools haven't failed us that much yet, but they're on the way to doing that. And people are freaking out. When people are scared, you can get them to support almost anything. And that's what's happening right now. They are trying to scare you. Everybody is trying to scare you. That is what's going on right now. You want my best guess on what's about to happen? We ain't going to know anytime soon. We heard that GM is making big investments here. We hear other companies are saying we're making big investments here. Countries like Israel and Vietnam completely dropped the tariffs they had on American products coming in. There is good news in all this. And there are the people who realize that by fighting Trump, by fighting America, that's good news for them in their country. There are so many variables right now. Are there people on Wall Street who want to sabotage Donald Trump? Absolutely. Are they happy to do a sell-off to do that because they can afford to do that? Absolutely. Right now, we are not going to know how this plays out because even though Donald Trump has announced over $5 trillion in new investments in America, it takes a while to build those factories. It takes a while for those jobs to come back. And people are scared. The media is designed to scare you. You ever watch the news at night? You ever watch any late night TV? What is every commercial? Do you suffer from this? Do you suffer from that? We're going to make your life better. Are you up at night because you can't sleep? We're going to make your life better. Everything is designed to scare you in those commercials if you're still watching regular TV. Every single commercial is designed. Well, take this pill, take that pill. May lead to artificial insemination, death, all that. But take this pill, you'll feel better. Your little bit of pain will be gone, but you'll have all these other issues. Nobody knows what's going on. Everybody can guess what's going on right now. And I'm here to tell you, because we're a political show, that it's all about the politics as always. You are looking at a Republican president using Democrat policies to try and make America great again. And the right is supporting him, and the left is freaking out. This is all about politics. Because when it was the Democrats saying the exact same thing Donald Trump is saying right now, they were all in lockstep on this. These are pro-union policies. And Donald Trump is doing them right now for better or for worse. I want to know what you think. I know a lot of you are freaking out today. You want to vent. You want to tell me if you think this is the way to go. You give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Because to me, as a guy who used to be in construction, I can look at a construction site that looks like a disaster and say it's going to be great down the road. But at the same time, somebody else comes along and looks at that and goes, this is going to be a colossal disaster. Nothing's where it's supposed to be. This doesn't look like a house. And we're not going to know the results of this for a very, very long time. Do you support what President Trump is doing? Has this shaken you a little bit, the stock market sell-off today? Has it encouraged you more? Let us know at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line. Take a call from Ron in Tacoma. Ron, what's up, man? Ron, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
How
what's
you
up,
doing?
man? What's going on?
So, I don't know about you, but I remember in 2008, nobody gave a damn about the stock market in the Democrat Party, all the way up through even the Obama or through the Biden administration. So it kind of catches me off guard, makes me think, well, wait a minute here. I've read some articles here about Nancy Pelosi having the perfect portfolio. So I'm just wondering, it seems a little bit more that the news is more worried about Nancy Pelosi's portfolio than running the United States. We're right back where we started again, aren't we?
Yeah, that's basically what it sounds like. Everybody's got their own self-interest going on today. 100%. And the Democrats are the biggest hypocrites of them all. I mean, think about this for a second, Ron. So Donald Trump comes up with Operation Warp Speed, which develops the vaccine, right? And all the Democrats say, we're not taking Trump's vaccine. We're not taking Trump's vaccine. Who came out with the vaccine mandates as soon as Trump was out of office? Answer the question for me, Ron. Who did it?
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
I said, who came out with the vaccine mandates? Was it the Republicans who supported Trump or the Democrats?
It was a Democrat.
Right. And who are the ones pushing back on the vaccine? The Republicans.
It was the Democrats.
That's right. So you see how these things flip around. I often wonder if Donald Trump had won a second term, would the Democrats have been the ones saying, no, we're not taking your vaccine? And that would have been really entertaining to watch. I wish I had an alternate timeline for my DeLorean to go check out. Appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go back to the Warrior Injury Law studio line. Take a call from Dave in Monroe. Dave, what's up?
Well, you inspired me, Ari.
Thank you.
Here we go.
How'd I do that? Good way or bad way, Dave? Tell me which way we're going. Let me get prepared.
You're going to love this.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and use Pelosi and Schumer and Crockett's words, their own words, when Obama was president, when Biden was president, when they supported everything Trump's doing today.
Exactly.
And then have their words come on. You know, the commercial is that, telling the support of what Trump is doing, and then President Donald J. Trump comes on and says, I approve this ad.
Oh, my God, that would be great. Oh, that would be amazing. Dave, if I have time tonight, I am going to cut that. I will put that, if I have time tonight, I will definitely make that commercial. I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this ad. Oh, that's amazing, Dave. That's a great idea. Appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. We go back to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line, take a call from Scott in University Place. Scott, what's up, man?
Hey, Ari, I think you're pretty much spot on. I think people just need to take a breath. I think tomorrow we will probably recover by about 500 points, and it's all going to be okay.
Yeah,
So
I think so, too. I think so, too. I think the market's shaking out some stuff. And something else people keep forgetting is how overinflated the market was to begin with. Now, that doesn't make somebody who's losing their 401k right now feel better. But at the same time,
well, some ones, and you are too, and a lot of people. And so,
right.
Yeah.
Right, I'm a hold guy. I'm
all.
a hold guy. I play the long game, and I don't even have that much money in the stock market, but I do have kids I got to send to college.
Well, I got to retire someday too. So, I was hoping that was going to be sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And this property tax is coming up and everything else. But yeah, so I guess people just need to take a breath and relax. And it's going to come back. We came back from COVID 5 years ago.
Yep.
And so just relax. And if you look at the history of the stock market, if you remember your finance class in college, it's 10% over the long run. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's the miracle of compound interest.
Exactly. Wait a second. I don't think any kid knows what that means now. All instead what they do is study gender ideology. I don't think any of them know what compound interest is. Oh, you say to a kid compound quarterly, they go, what magazine is that?
Well, okay. Well, there are no magazines anymore.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. That's a good point there, Scott.
Appreciate. I'll meet you tomorrow. Okay.
All right. Very good. Appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. Elaine says over on the text line, I've been buying more stocks. Stocks will come up again. Buying them for cheaper is good. That's right. This one here from John in Lakewood. He says the Dems in Congress were going short yesterday and are geared up to start buying today. You remember the James Bond movie? You short the stocks, you buy the stocks. We're literally watching what happened in Casino Royale. That's what we're talking about. Everybody take a breath. Everybody chill. You must chill, as John Cusack said in Say Anything. We got a whole lot more to discuss as the show continues, my friends. When we come back, a principal in Seattle is advocating that parents use Antifa tactics to protect a drag show in a public school. We'll give you all details when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. When I was a little kid, everybody for their birthday wanted Patches the Clown. Oh, Patches the Clown is coming. Oh, we love Patches the Clown. He's so funny, and you get free stuff and little tricks, and Patches the Clown is amazing. Can't wait to... Patches the Clown used my bathroom. Patches the Clown used my toilet. Oh, Patches the Clown was in my house. I saw him without his makeup on. I saw his clown car. Is all this stuff we're seeing with the drag show these days really just the new Patches the Clown? Is that what it is? Because I don't get it. Can somebody please explain the following to me? What is the educational value in bringing a drag show to a school? I'm very, very serious here. You want to go to a drag show because you find them entertaining on your own time as an adult? Fine. You want to drag your kids to them on a weekend because they're your kids and whatever? I may not agree with it, but fine. Go ahead. What is the educational upside of bringing a drag show to a public school for bingo? I'm asking a very serious question. What are you teaching the children? Look, you want to say you want to do it as a fundraiser for the school and not involve the children? Okay, who am I to judge? But now Whittier Elementary School is having today drag queen bingo and story time presented by the PTA. Does this mean your tax dollars are subsidizing this? Now, this would be odd enough on its own. But then I have this one here for you. This is an email that came out from the principal of Whittier Elementary. Dear friends, I have the incredible privilege to serve as the principal at Whittier Elementary in Seattle. This Thursday, April 3rd, at Whittier PTA is sponsoring our third annual Drag Queen Bingo and Story Time for Families. This event is full of joy, laughter, pride, and celebration. Unfortunately, this year, those who don't agree we should hold this event have shared their thoughts and opinions with me, our main office team, and our PTA, and they are awful. You know, I did email Seattle Public Schools, and I said, what's the educational merit in this program? What's the educational merit? They didn't get back to me. They said it's important to know none of the people calling or emailing are connected to our community. Instead, they are feeling emboldened by the current political landscape. So we're just blaming Trump. Okay, scroll down. And then it gets to the details at the bottom. Arrive at 5:15 wearing pride gear. Plan to stay until at least 6:30 if possible. Plan to stand outside no matter the weather. Outside? Isn't the event inside? Why are you standing outside? If you have a colorful umbrella, bring it to block the rain and or protesters. Hang on a second. Shouldn't you just say, we're having our event and ignore what's going on outside because we're here for the kids and we're here for the programmer? But no, we want you to do what Antifa does. Show up with the umbrellas and stand outside the school and prepare to repel borders. So you now have a Seattle principal, Cindy Waters, saying, bring your umbrellas. Is it raining out there? Oh, by the way, here's something else. Even when it's raining, and it rains, 8-9 months out of the year here? Does anybody in Seattle ever use an umbrella unless they're part of Antifa? No, of course not. It's sunny outside. I see some clouds in the sky, Simpsons style. But aside from that, why would you bring umbrellas today? She's literally telling them to come do the Antifa tactics. Our schools are no longer schools. They are training grounds for protesters. They are training grounds for progressive ideologues. And they want your kids to become Antifa stormtroopers. They want the parents to be their Antifa stormtroopers. What is the educational merit of any of this? Any of it at all? I ask that question. It's insane that this is what's going on in Seattle public schools. Unless you want your kid to become brainwashed to be a progressive ideologue or an Antifa stormtrooper and have no useful skills in life, yank them out of Seattle public schools right now. Because this is absolutely insane. Even if you agree with all this, you should be saying instead, come inside, enjoy, we'll have bingo, we'll have story time, it'll be fine, ignore what's going on outside. But no, we want you to come bring your umbrellas and block the building. Absolutely insane. We go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line, take a call from Rosanna in Seattle. Rosanna, what's up?
Hey, Lars. It's disgusting. I'm so glad you're talking about this. It is the more and more that I'm diving into what they're doing in the schools, and they're being sneaky about it. They're not involving parents. They're not notifying parents. People are finding out after the fact. This particular event is really disturbing because the PTA is the one who actually put it together.
Yeah, but okay, let's separate the two for a second. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit here, okay? And here's where I'm disagreeing with you. Sometimes you can blame the PTA. For example, when all this BLM stuff started coming into the schools, it wasn't the schools pushing it. It was the PTAs. Then the school adopted it. When a principal sends out an email like this, that means the principal could say, I didn't agree with this. This was a PTA event, and they basically run the school. But instead, the principal's saying, yeah, of course I agreed with this. Oh, and join Antifa while you're at it.
Oh, 100%. No, I'm 100% aligned. They are equally responsible for the nonsense that's happening. I happen to have a little inside scoop of the text message that went out. So there was an email that went out, but there was also a text message that went out to all the parents, basically confirming and reiterating everything that you said that principal was directing.
Can you do me a favor? Can you
Yep.
screenshot that and send it to me, ari@kvi.com?
Yep, I'll do it right now.
Thanks so much, Rosanna. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, my friends, Elon Musk is calling it quits from Doge, and the left is celebrating. Maybe because they didn't understand this was always a temporary position. We'll give you all details when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Just a reminder to everybody, I'm sure everybody could use a few extra bucks today. Coming up at 4 o'clock is your chance to be part of the Golden Age of America, where we give away $2,025 in cold, hard cash and a $50 Daniels Broiler gift card. That's right. Oh, you didn't play the clip. He's playing the clip.
I proudly proclaim that the Golden Age of America is upon us.
Exactly right, my friends.
Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't know you wanted that.
That's okay. I figured you were going to do it anyway. You usually surprise me with
This will be America's new Golden Age.
Exactly. The Golden Age of America. Well, you know who's not having a golden age? It's the Democrats. And even with the stock market doing what it's doing, even with people going ballistic on Donald Trump, his polling hasn't really moved at all. Meanwhile, the Democrats keeps going down and down and down, and I don't see a floor for them. This is CNN.
Holy Toledo. Voters' views of the Democrats in Congress among all voters disapprove, 68%. And look at the approved number, just 21%, even lower than the Democratic Party at large. This is the lowest on record for Democrats, according to Quinnipiac University polling. You think these numbers are bad? Let's go to this side of the screen. We'll look how Democratic voters feel. Get this. The plurality of Democratic voters disapprove of Democrats in Congress at 49%, and just 40% approve. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Oh, my goodness gracious, you just can't get worse than these numbers.
And this is the number right here really driving all of this. If Democratic voters have turned on Democrats in Congress and the Democratic Party, that's what puts the numbers at historic lows. What is it they want to be seeing, these voters?
What is going on? I'll tell you what's going on. They don't like what's coming out of some of those Senate Democrats like Chuck Schumer, because take a look at the direction of the party. Democratic voters on Democrats in Congress doing too little to oppose Donald Trump. Look at this. 77% should stay principled, even if it means nothing gets done in Washington, D.C. 65%. And this 65% is such a difference from where we were in 2017 at this point, when just 33% of Democrats say they should stay principled, compared to 59% who said they want to compromise. Democrats do not want compromise at this point. They want a fighter. They want to go into the ring like Muhammad Ali did against Sonny Liston. They want to take down the Republicans. They do not want this compromise anymore. They want to be more like Republicans, get up to that stage and fight. And right now they feel like their leaders in Congress are simply not doing so. And that is why their approval rating for congressional Democrats is at an all-time low, even among Democrats with more disapproving than approving.
Exactly right. Because when you're the opposition, you're supposed to fight the majority powers or work with them. And the Democrats aren't doing either. They're saying, we're going to fight, we're going to fight, we're going to fight. But then they don't fight, and they kind of run away, and then they don't work with Republicans either. So their own base is mad at them. That's how you get to 21%. So it's every Democrat for themselves, which is why you see Jasmine Crockett doing what she's doing, and AOC doing what she's doing, and Bernie Sanders doing what he's doing, and Pramila Jayapal starting resistance movements, because everybody wants their name to be the one that's the symbol of the resistance. Well, who is their main target? Elon Musk. Elon Musk, and this is crazy. I think it was Politico said, "Scoop, Elon Musk is leaving Doge at this date in May." And I said, we always knew that. His appointment was a temporary one. We've been discussing this from the beginning. So 3 months ago it was, oh, well, how can he work that long? He's only a temporary appointee. Now it's scoop for you. Elon Musk is a temporary employee. Give me a break. Give me a break. However, I actually think this is a good thing, and let me tell you why. This is what Elon Musk does. He comes in, guts the company, fixes the company, and then moves on to the next one. He's like a locust, like an Independence Day. They consume one civilization and then move on. No, what it is he did this with Twitter too. Clean out the fat, get the thing running well again, go launch rocket ships, or go make cars, or whatever the case may be. When we saw those guys from Doge have that sit down with Brett Baer on Fox News, they were not what the mainstream media was portraying them as. They were CEOs, they were business experts. And the stuff they were revealing was absolutely incredible. I actually think at this point, Doge is going to get more work done without Elon Musk than with him. Because without Elon Musk, they're not going to be paying attention to it anymore. And also, without Elon Musk, is the left going to try and attack Donald Trump? Because that's not working out so well. They've made Elon Musk the boogeyman because Donald Trump is Teflon and everything keeps bouncing off of him. Everything keeps bouncing off of him. So they go with Elon Musk. Well, Elon Musk isn't running for office, guys. You need a new plan of attack or you need new ideas. And the Democrats don't have either, which is why they're in full-blown polling collapse. We go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line, take a call from Leonard out in Shoreline. Leonard, what's up, man?
You know, you were mentioning about Elon Musk. You know, I'm surprised that he is leaving those on May 30th. And I think the thing is that you have to remember, too, at least he's doing his job at those right now. But I think he wish I'd kind of like to see him, I'd like to make is to see Elon Musk give me one of those self-driving Teslas called a cyber cab, because it would change my life forever.
You mean I won't fear for my life in the back of a New York City cab anymore? Is that what it is? You have the cyber cab, but also for people who take mass transit, we're building all these big choo-choo trains. What happens when we have the cyber cabs that drive themselves? I mean, we're spending all this money on the big trains, and meanwhile, we could have done it for a fraction of the price with buses. And especially when cars are going in the autonomous driving direction, it's only a matter of time until the trains themselves become useless. Leonard, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, Jasmine Crockett admits she was a DEI hire. Congratulations. You played yourself. We'll have that crazy audio for you when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. I'm convinced at this point, Jasmine Crockett is just going for the outrage clicks, and we're giving it to her. It's like The View. The crazier stuff they say, the more it gets shared on social media, which is why I'm convinced The View still has an audience. I know there's some people that like that televised mental institution, but meanwhile, we're the ones giving them the clicks. It's conservative media. Jasmine Crockett in Capitol Hill just the other day admitted she is a DEI hire and has no shame whatsoever about it.
Say because you've been gracious, is this. When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah, because you almost just said you have to hire me because otherwise I'm going to sue you for discrimination. Isn't that what that sounded like? You have to hire me because I'm black. And I know what your standards are, and you know what I'll do if you don't hire me. Of course he looked at you like you were crazy. Plus, you think you're entitled to that job with no experience whatsoever? You ever see Transformers 3? Dark Side of the Moon, Rise of the Moon, something about a moon. Dark Side of the Moon. It is Dark of the Moon. Thank you, Mike, the resident Transformers expert. Dark of the Moon. John Malkovich plays Shia LaBeouf's boss. And Shia LaBeouf wants a job, but not the job John Malkovich is offering him. And you know what he says to Shia LaBeouf's character? He says, you don't want this job. You want the next job. But this is a job you got to do to get that next job. You don't get to walk in and say, give me the job because I'm black. Oh, maybe you can nowadays. Give me the job because I identify as whatever. I guess that's the way corporate world works these days. Well, apparently the world's pushing back on this nonsense. So the other day, there was a fencing tournament. And this fencing tournament out in Maryland, there's a girl named Stephanie Turner. Stephanie Turner is going head-to-head with a boy who identifies as a girl in fencing. Now, you may say, Ari, those are fake swords. You're not going to get stabbed or anything. You know you can get cut up in fencing pretty bad. I had friends who used to fence. Their wrists, by the way, and their forearms had stuff all over them because of how hard those things swing and the back and forth and everything. You get sliced up. You do. It's not no contact. There's a lot of contact in that sport. Now imagine a girl fencing with a boy. One who's stronger, bigger, because that's the way we're built. She said she wasn't going to do it. She kneeled and said, I'm not competing against this dude. And she got thrown out of the tournament. This is what she told Fox News.
Initially, I told them that I was refusing defense because this person is a man and I am a woman, and this is a women's tournament, and I refuse to fence on principle.
And then later, right after this, we see your opponent comes over. What did you say to your opponent at that point?
My opponent was a little bit confused, thinking that I was maybe hurt. And I said, no, I am refusing to fence you because I'm a woman and you are a man. I have much love and respect for you, but I will not compete against you.
Wow.
And he responded, okay, well, there's a, yes?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm sorry, what was his response?
His response was, okay, but there's a member of the board of directors here, and he supports me, and there's a policy that says that I'm a woman and I'm allowed to compete in the women's tournament, and if you do this, you're going to get blackcarded. And I said, I know.
We need more girls like Stephanie Turner who say we're not putting up with this because soon you won't have tournaments, which means you won't have sponsors, which means we're done with all of this. And then maybe we can have women's sports back. Good on her for standing by her beliefs and also not wanting to get injured by a dude who thinks he's a girl. Lots more to discuss as the show continues, my friends. A massive immigration raid sets off the Dems in Washington. We'll give you the details when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homo, streaming live at KVI.com and on the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, Harvard is now helping out Pramila Jayapal with her resistance labs. But before we get to any of that, my friends, it's time for your chance to be part of the golden age of America.
The golden age of America, I call it. It's begun. So it's the golden age of America, and that's what it's going to be. I can proudly proclaim that the golden age of America is upon us.
It is the golden age of America.
But we're going to usher in a new golden age of American success.
Exactly right. We're going to usher in that golden age of America right now. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you a keyword. And when I give you the keyword, you're going to text it in. And you're not going to text in your phone number. And you're not going to write, hey, Ari, the keyword is X. And then this is my phone number and this is my address. Thanks for letting me play. No, you just send the keyword. Just the keyword. Nothing else. Not your phone number. Not your address. Do not call us with the keyword. You just text in the keyword that I give you for your chance to win $2,025 and a Daniel's Broiler gift card. So, today's keyword is feat, as in it would be a great feat if not a single person sends me their phone number today. So, text the word feat, F-E-A-T. That's as in great feet, not the things that you walk around on. F-E-A-T. Text it in to 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Do not text it multiple times. Duplicates will be disqualified. Text the word feet, F-E-A-T, to 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Your next chance to win comes tomorrow during John Carlson's last show from 6 to 9 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Your chance to win is coming up at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Check out danielsbroiler.com to reserve a table, place your takeout delivery order, and more.
Well, and thank you, Ari. You do an incredible job and such an important voice. Thank you very much, Ari.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate you joining us today to talk about the Golden Age of America contest that we are running right here on Talk Radio 570 KVI. And
I can proudly proclaim that the golden age of America is upon us.
Exactly right. And you're going to need that money, my friends, because now the Senate Democrats here in Washington have such bad PR over their insane tax increases. Let's not forget what happened yesterday. So, 2 days ago, the Democrats in the Senate and the House vote and pass these insane budgets, these absolutely insane budgets, which were going to levy the largest tax increases in Washington state history on every single one of us, even as they talked about making Washington more affordable with no real cuts whatsoever to the budget. Well, what happens? Bob Ferguson says, I'm not signing that. I'm not going to do it, just not going to do it. And then what happens is the Democrats, as we discussed yesterday, get letters from Amazon, Microsoft, Boeing, Costco, all the big companies around here saying, don't do it. You do this. We're leaving town. They even got a letter from the Seattle Mariners. The Seattle Mariners, I don't think the Mariners said we're leaving town, but they said people are going to lose their jobs. People are going to move away. It's going to drive people away. It's going to kill the Washington economy. Are you guys crazy? Now, back in 2018, when Seattle was considering passing the head tax, as it was called, which was a tax on payrolls, Amazon said, if you do this, Seattle City Council, we are out of here. Seattle City Council passed it. A month later, repealed it, probably because cooler heads prevailed and said, all right, maybe we'll do it and nobody's paying attention. Then in 2019, Seattle elected a much more crazy city council, a more progressive city council. And what did they do? In 2020, when nobody was paying attention because of COVID, they passed the Jumpstart tax, which was basically a repackaged version of the head tax. following Kshama Sawant, the Marxist advice. Yes, if I want economic advice, I'm going to ask the Marxist. I'm going to ask the communist for economic advice. It just hasn't been done right yet. Yeah, millions of more people need to die before we get it done right. Right, wrong. So they passed this thing. And then we told you that Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell admitted that the city was another $47 million short because that tax came in short because Amazon moved out of town. They moved over to Bellevue. Bellevue is thriving. Seattle is dying. No matter what Bruce Harrell tells you about a one Seattle or whatever other nonsense he's spewing today, please, baby, give me one more chance. That's Bruce Harrell. So they didn't learn their lesson. $47 million short, adding to the $250 million budget gap they already have. So now that's almost $300 million. And they're going to say, oh, well, we just need to tax everybody who's left because Amazon left town. We can't tax them anymore. Where's everybody else who's still here? How much money do you want to fork over to us? So when all these companies come along and say, if you do this, we're leaving. The Senate Democrats did an interesting move today. This was posted by the Washington Senate Republicans. Breaking. Senate Democrats just voted to shut the public out of the budget process. Instead of resolving differences between the Senate and the House, Democrat budgets out in the open. The final budget deal will be cut behind closed doors. 4 Democrats will emerge right before the end of the session with a record spending budget close to $80 billion. No one else has seen. There will be no public hearing on the deal. No amendments will be allowed, not even from moderate Democrats, much less Republicans. Just a yes or no vote. All Senate Republicans voted no on this abuse of legislative process. This severe lack of transparency is a massive disservice to you, your family, and the people of Washington. Government should be open and transparent for everyone. They're your tax dollars. You want to know why they don't want Jonathan Cho and Brandy Cruz out in the wings of the Senate? Because they don't want them sending this out to their audiences. You know why? Hang on one second here. Let's do a little experiment while I have the computer open. Let's go to KomoNews.com. Is anybody talking about this? What are the top stories? Driver pleads guilty to 112-mile-per-hour crash that killed Renton woman. Shoppers weigh impact of Trump's tariffs. Crown Hill residents in Seattle asked to boil water after water main break. Seattle men's chorus honors Dolly Parton with new show. That's the front page of Como News right now. Okay, let's go over to Fox 13. Let's do that. I would assume they're covering the stuff, right? Let's see what we got here. Washington leaders fear Trump tariffs will significantly hurt local economies. Seattle weather turning sunny and warmer the next few days. Oh, well, thank you. All right, let's go over to King 5. Let's see what they got on their site, shall we? Any news about the legislature? Man pleads guilty in King County crash that killed woman, 3 children. Software company helped Washington landlords fix prices, artificially raising rental. Trial to decide compensation for family of Ethiopia Airlines 737 MAX crash. And how Trump tariffs are impacting the Port of Seattle. All right, let's go over to the Seattle Times for a second. Seattle Times, what do we got on the front page right here? Trump's tariffs send Seattle shoppers scrambling ahead of price hikes. UW men reportedly add former Southern Conference Player of the Year. Mariners calling another Luis Castillo up to join rotation. Yes, really. Is anybody even covering the legislature in the state? Nobody is. No. Exactly, Baby Yoda. He gets it. Nobody's even covering the legislature. This is why they don't want Jonathan Cho down there. This is why they don't want Brandy Cruz down there. This is why they don't want any of us down there. Because nobody in the lamestream media is covering the Washington state legislature. Hang on, let's go to the local section of the Seattle Times, the paper of record here in Seattle. Local. Yeah, nothing. So give me a break, guys. This is why they don't want people like us covering what's going on in the Washington legislature, because right now, the majority of people in Washington have no idea that the budget discussions are happening behind closed doors. Most of them don't know that letter even came out from Amazon, Microsoft, Boeing, when all the companies in Washington have this discussion with the Washington Democrats and say, guys, you're about to kill the economy. By the way, quick question. How many of local Democrats are criticizing the tariffs right now, but levying taxes on everybody around here? Just a little hypocrisy there. Just a little bit. So they don't want you talking about it. They don't want anybody to know about it at all. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely insane. And that's why they blocked Jonathan Cho, who had press credentials, from entering the wings yesterday, because then he might report on this. And they know that the audience of people like Jonathan Cho and people like Brandy and people like me is growing while the mainstream media is shrinking. And they know they're about to lose their monopoly. So this is their plan. Stop freedom of the press. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely insane. But you can see what's going on. So basically, Jerry Kornfield over at the Washington State Standard, who was in charge of giving out press passes and then handed that responsibility back to the people that they're supposed to be holding accountable in government, he just turned that all over. And now there is nobody holding your government accountable. In fact, most of you probably had no idea this was even going on. Something else that's going on around here, let's not forget the Democrats are fighting to keep every single illegal immigrant here in state. Well, according to Como News, a large-scale immigration raid at Mount Baker Roofing in Whatcom County resulted in the arrest of 37 individuals, according to ICE and the Border Patrol. The raid conducted yesterday has sparked mixed reactions among local residents. An ICE spokesperson said that the individuals arrested were in the country illegally and were allegedly working without legal authorization. The spokesperson added that those arrested had lied about their immigration status, submitted false documents to secure employment at the roofing company. All right, can we be clear here? They all committed a crime. They all allegedly committed a crime. So why are you sticking up for them? Liz Darrow, Participatory Democracy Coordinator for Community to Community Development, an organization advocating for immigrant worker rights, expressed concern over the increased ICE activity. You should not be expressing concern. You should say, we're here for legal immigration, not illegal immigration, because it screws up all the people who are trying to come here illegally. Instead, she's concerned that they're getting rid of the criminals. This is beyond insane, by the way. Como, you go and interview the activist organization first? That's who you go talk to first? What, you just needed a little drama in the story here? You know, J.D. Vance was doing an interview yesterday where he was asked about what's going on at the border. Here's what he said, and he couldn't be clearer.
There's been a few cases out there where the Democrats and the media say, oh, this person was just an innocent father of three, and then you find out, for example, I think this is the case that you're talking about. Back in 2019, an immigration judge looked at all the evidence, looked at all the data, and concluded that this allegedly innocent person that we sent to El Salvador was actually a member of an MS-13 gang. He had also committed some traffic violations. He had not shown up for some court dates. This is not exactly Father of the Year here. This is a person that we don't think should be in our country. Here's the most important point, though, Lawrence, is whatever the argument is, whatever the justification is, no one doubts, not even the crazy left-wing media criticized the idea that we could deport this person. They just took issue with the reasoning for why we deported this person. This was unquestionably an illegal alien. This was unquestionably a person who broke the laws to get into our country. This is unquestionably a person an immigration judge had found had zero right to be in the United States of America. We do not ask permission from far-left Democrats before we deport illegal immigrants. We do the American people's business. And again, for the American people who are watching, this is such a weird, mistaken placement of priorities. We need to make our country stronger. We need to create jobs. We need to make our streets safer. What is it about congressional Democrats that get more angry at deporting violent gang members than they do at the victims of those violent gang members? I don't even understand where they're coming from. They've gone off the deep end, and they got to come back to reality.
And that's why, as we discussed earlier in the show, their polling's at 20%. Because only 20% agrees with them on 80-20 policies like getting rid of the criminals. By the way, Democrats are doubling down on this stupidity. Hakeem Jeffries was talking about that Wisconsin bill that passed regarding making sure that everybody who registers to vote produces ID. That passed overwhelmingly. It wasn't even close. And that's where you lost a Supreme Court justice, a state Supreme Court justice race in the same state. So that means the majority of moderates, independents, and Democrats agree with voter ID. And yet Democrats are still doubling down on, oh, it's racist, it's racist.
In that referendum in Wisconsin, then you should have brought the SAVE Act, which is a voter suppression bill that we strongly oppose, to the floor this week. You could have done it. You could have done it today. You could do it tomorrow. We dare you to bring the SAVE Act to the floor. We'll have that discussion. That's voter suppression.
Oh, give me a break, voter suppression. You guys are the ones who want anybody to vote without ID, and you're yelling about voter suppression? Give me a break. There was this story. We had a few details on this the other day, but now it's gotten even more fun. The House Judiciary Committee wrote a letter to the Attorney General of Washington State requesting a detailed production of documents related to the state's sanctuary statute. The committee contends that these laws, which prohibit local and state law enforcement from cooperating with U.S. Immigration Customs and Enforcement, otherwise known as ICE, not only obstruct federal immigration law, but also endanger the lives of American citizens by shielding criminal aliens from deportation. According to the Post-Millennial, Attorney General Nick Brown, Democrat, has until April 14th at 5 p.m. to produce several specific documents or face repercussions. The committee is led by GOP lawmakers who wrote the letter dated March 31st. The committee is seeking information about the state's sanctuary statute, the Keep Washington Working Act of 2019, which prohibits state and local law enforcement from using their resources to assist federal officers in enforcing immigration laws. This includes restrictions on sharing information about subjects' immigration status and cooperating with ICE detainers, which are official requests to hold an illegal alien charged with a crime in jail so that ICE can arrest them rather than local authorities releasing them into the community to potentially reoffend. By the way, if Democrats want to take away my argument here in Washington, you know what they said? They would have written this sanctuary city stuff and written, except in the case where the person has committed a felony or a misdemeanor. You could have done that and taken my argument away, because then it would have been about, well, we just want the ones who want to come here to work. And you know what? Maybe they came here illegally, but they just want to work. They're good citizens. But they give away the game by not insisting that the person not have a criminal record or not commit crimes. They want as many illegal immigrants here who are reliant on the government so they can vote and they can keep power. The letter was sent shortly after Attorney General Brown filed a lawsuit on March 10th against Adams County Sheriff Dale Wagner, alleging that the sheriff's office illegally assisted ICE in apprehending criminal illegal immigrants, particularly the agency's cooperation with ICE detainers. So Nick Brown is going after a sheriff for enforcing the law. The top cop in Washington, the Attorney General, is going after a sheriff for enforcing the law. Do you realize how insane this is? Let me know if you agree with me. Do you think I'm right about this? Or do you think, hey, we should give everybody a chance? They're just coming here to work. 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, is Los Angeles starting to see signs of sanity? A judge calls out Homeless Inc., and it might be changing things for the better. Could the same thing happen in Western Washington? We'll give you the details when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Just a reminder, if you want to see this beautiful face but receding hairline, you can stream the show with video over at Rumble, Facebook, X, and, of course, over on YouTube, my friends. We go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line. Take a call from our friend Transit Joe. Transit Joe, what's up, man?
What's up, man? I'm really upset at all this, all the media fighting each other instead of, trying to get people to come on and take hard questions. I mean, I'm hearing we're billions of dollars in the hole, and Brandy Cruz gets to walk in the Republican caucus room, but how come Jerry Cornfield's not in the Democratic room?
Hang on, Joe, let's clear up a few things, okay? Jerry Cornfield got to go wherever he wanted, and he was the one in charge of giving out the press passes, and he didn't want to deal with people like me and Brandy Cruz and Jonathan Cho, so he abdicated his responsibility and gave it to the Democrats. That's why we're in this mess. Jerry Cornfield and, what's her name, Jeannie Lindsay from NPR/KUOW are the ones who abdicated the press responsibility to hold officials accountable and gave it over to the Democrats who don't like being held accountable. So Jerry Cornfield is not the victim here. He is the one who caused this mess.
Okay, you've established that, but do you know why Mr. Cornfield felt he had to hand it off to somebody else?
Because he did a bad job managing it and didn't want to get sued.
Because he got threatened with lawsuits.
Yes, wait. So I'm right. He did a bad job managing it because he decided he was the gatekeeper of who was and who wasn't a journalist, and he didn't want to get sued, so he handed it off. So once again, whose fault is that, Joe?
It's the fault of also Cho and Cruz.
No, because I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something, Joe. Joe, here's why I disagree with you. If the stranger wants to go to that room, they get to go to that room, and I don't get to say they can't, even though I disagree with them. If KUOW wants to go to that room, they get to go to that room, and I don't get to say they can't just because they are funded by the government. They are still journalists. They get to go to that room. Whether you like Cho, whether you dislike Cho, whether you like Brandy, whether you don't like Brandy, you don't get to decide who is and who isn't a journalist.
Then who does?
That's the thing, is that right now, we have media evolving right now, Joe. So what if I said, you know what, Transit Joe, you can't be here because you report on airplanes, not government. Would that be fair?
It would depend on the subject. But if we were to state, let's say the state government put out a report on airport sighting and then said, hey, Mr. Kunzler, we think you're too conservative for us. You call KVI all the time. Yeah, I'd be a little upset and hot under the collar.
Okay. So what if they said, we don't want you here at all because you cover airplanes and we don't think you're a real journalist?
I would show them, all my over 700 stories that have been published about aviation worldwide, and I'd make clear I'm here on aviation business.
Excellent.
I wouldn't crash a housing. I wouldn't crash a housing event because I'm such a fan.
Whoa, hang on a second. That's exactly what happened to Cho. Cho reports for the Discovery Institute on housing and homelessness. That's what he covers. The guy has more Emmy Awards than I will ever see in my lifetime. The guy has multiple credits. He's accredited by Newsmax. He's accredited by the Post Millennial. He's accredited by Frontlines. He got the credits from the Olympia legislature itself, and they still wouldn't let him in. So once again, Joe, I ask you, is that right or wrong?
I'm not sure, but I will tell you what I've done. I emailed the Senate Democrat PR guy. He didn't get back to me, so I just filed a public records request for all his emails naming Cho or Cruz and the Senate Democrat and Senate Republican policies.
Excellent.
And when I get, because that's how I operate. Is I will give you a few days to get back to me, and then if you don't want to talk to me, okay, fine. I'm going to use the Public Records Act to make you talk to me.
See, Joe, that's why you're a reporter. That's why you're a journalist. And you have a specific focus of airplanes. But it doesn't matter because you have that journalistic drive to find out the truth, and you're an advocate for open government. And that's one of the many, many reasons we love having you on the show, my man.
Yes. We all need to come together, and we all need to pull together, and we all need to, be nicer to each other and be nicer to Mr. Cornfield, who, by the way, I have to stick up for the guy as much as I have concerns about what he did. He was the only Olympia journalist to cover the renovations to the Open Public Meetings Act.
So you know what he could have done instead? He could have said, you know what? I don't want to put up with this anymore. Hey, Carlene Johnson from the Center Square, how about you handle it instead of me? But instead, he wanted to be the gatekeeper, and he passed it off to the people he's supposed to be holding accountable. Maybe he's just getting old. Joe, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Meanwhile, a federal judge last week lambasted L.A. city officials for failing to properly track billions of dollars in spending on homelessness and called for a forensic audit to look into potential fraud and waste. This according to the LA Times, by the way. He also threatened to appoint a court-ordered receiver to take control of the spending. Oh, can we do this here in Washington, please? There is no accountability at all for the spending on Homeless Inc. At a hearing in downtown L.A., U.S. District Court Judge David O. Carter convened a who's who of top officials, including Mayor Karen Bass. Oh, see if she texted about the meeting. Oh, wait, no, she deletes them. City Council President Marquis Harris Dawson, L.A. County Board of Supervisors Chair Catherine Barger, and City Controller Kenneth Maya. The judge focused heavily on a recent audit he oversaw, which found major failures in tracking more than $2 billion of city homelessness spending and holding contractors accountable. It comes after multiple audits over many years with similar findings. He says this is a slow train wreck, and the Los Angeles Homeless Services Agency was at the top of Carter's list of concerns. You know, the other day, I was driving out in Tequila. My son and I were out there shopping in South Center, and we drove past a building that said King County Regional Homeless Authority. Now, my son's not political, but he goes, Dad, are those the ones in charge of homelessness? And I said, yeah. He says, what do they need such a big office for? They're not accomplishing anything. Exactly right. And he's not even that political. This judge pointed to years of audits going back to 2007, 2019, 2021, and this year of the agency. The city has been spending much of its homeless service dollars, too. And those reviews all found the agency failed to properly keep track of the money and ensure it was being properly spent. He said, nobody is asking our providers what they did or what services they performed. That audit looked at about $2.4 billion spent by the city over a 4-year period, ending last summer, which includes a first year and a half of Bass's administration. It found that it had made it impossible to accurately track homelessness spending, in large part by failing to collect accurate data on its vendors and hold them accountable. It is a massive grift. Tons of money going through the system, no accountability whatsoever. Carter told Bass, folks, you've got to solve this, or else the court is going to step in. And he gave them until May to make a series of decisions, including whether Bass will allow outside audits of these organizations. Can we please do this here? Please, oh please, we need an audit of Homeless Inc. or nothing is going to change. You know what? It's been a while since we had City Council member Mark Solomon on the show, and he said he would call for that. I haven't heard anything about it. Maybe I missed it, but maybe it's time to reach out to the Seattle City Council and ask him what the story is. Lots more to discuss as the show continues, my friends. Pramila Jayapal is getting some help with her resistance labs from Harvard. Yeah, Donald Trump should pull that funding from that school right away. We'll give you the details when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. So whether you like the Trump administration, whether you hate the Trump administration, one thing you can't say about anybody in the Trump administration is that they're afraid of controversy. So the Democrats decide to come out and do a little PR stunt in front of the Department of Education, which, is that building even open anymore in Washington, D.C.? I thought they fired everybody from over there. But they decided to do this PR stunt. And here's something else. I didn't recognize any of these Democrats. These are all the ones trying to make a name for themselves. So they start speaking outside, and you know who shows up to confront them? Linda McMahon, the Secretary of Education. She ain't afraid from a fight. She knows about that wrestling stuff.
And they do not have a plan. So they are de facto restructuring this entity along a corporate model without a plan and without an effort to really protect our students. So we want to be clear about that. I want to say one other thing. The mood in the room, it was very collegial. We are extraordinarily grateful to the secretary that she joined us. Thank you. She's here. Perhaps I should give her the podium.
Wait a minute. Linda McMahon is there. What's she carrying with her?
Oh, no. There you go, Margot. There's no way to stop this. X with the steel chair.
Steel chair. Linda McMahon's got a steel chair heading for the Democrats. Saw that meme. We had to do it. I mean, come on, guys. She shows up and goes, that's a nice press conference you're having. Did anybody cover the Democrats that were speaking? No. What was the headline of every outlet? Linda McMahon shows up to press conference condemning Trump's cuts to Department of Education. Amazing. And by the way, we really do need to reform education in this country. You remember Pramila Jayapal yesterday talking about how basically she's running these resistance labs to overthrow the government? In case you missed it, here's what she said.
Hey everyone, I am here at our inaugural session of Resistance Labs. This is a new training we're launching. We had over 850 people sign up. We're trying to accommodate as many as we can, but it's really to get you strike ready and street ready. It's going to be a training that involves different tactics and strategies, and also looking at democracies around the world. And
strike ready and street ready, involving different tactics and strategies. It sounds like she is planning an insurrection. Well, she listed a bunch of groups that were helping with this. And now, a USAID-funded Harvard Institute, according to Natalie Winters from Steve Bannon's War Room, partnered with Democrat members of Congress to train the far-left activists. Yes, she makes no secret about this. I went and verified this. She literally says the resistance labs, which are calling for a regime change, sounds like an insurrection, is being helped by Harvard? Well, I guess there's a reason why the Trump administration is talking about pulling all that money aside from the fact of all the anti-Semitism and other Title VI and Title IX violations on campus. According to Post Millennial, Trump administration is reviewing over $9 billion worth of federal funding going to Harvard as the administration has been investigating colleges and universities over their handling of anti-Semitism on campus. Federal government will be reviewing $255.6 million in contracts with the Ivy League school, as well as $8.7 billion in grants that are being dispersed from the government over the course of multiple years. According to the Wall Street Journal, the review is not only focused on the Harvard campus, but also its affiliate organizations, such as Boston area hospitals. Now, before you say, oh, Donald Trump is going to hurt the children and he's going to defund the children. How many of you have sent me stories about what goes on at Seattle Children's Hospital with the DEI nonsense? Or any of the other hospitals around here with the DEI nonsense? We see it all the time. Your tax dollars are paying for that. They can afford the DEI nonsense because they're getting these grants from the government. Why does the hospital have to do any of that? It actually goes against biology. You can't just identify however you want, and then your biology randomly changes. Your DNA chromosomal structure randomly changes. That's not how it works. The university agreed to a list of demands from the Trump administration surrounding disciplinary measures for anti-Semitism after numerous incidents on campus. Now, this happened, they agreed to this, and then just 2 days ago, they had another one of these big protests on campus where they didn't arrest anybody and they didn't do anything about it. And the video from it went viral. So what happens all of a sudden? Harvard comes down and goes, we're sorry. Please don't take away our money. Please don't take away our money. Because now these administrations are realizing when you fool around, you find out. Nobody wants to be the next Columbia. Well, it's real easy to not be the next Columbia. Don't do dumb things. Protect the students on campus. Here's Senator Kennedy talking about it.
The administration at Columbia and most members of the faculty believe passionately in diversity, equity, inclusion, and the right to hurt Jews. That's what I saw.
Yeah, he's 100% right. In fact, the public schools are no better. How many stories have we done just today about the insanity in the public schools? You're going to see more tonight, by the way, because that drag time, story time, bingo thing is happening at Whittier Elementary, and guaranteed there's going to be shenanigans. So at this point, really, we got to be saying, why don't we run an initiative for school choice around here? Why should our tax dollars keep going to these schools? Wonder how Donald Trump feels about school choice. I can guess, but let's hear it from the press secretary herself.
Two issues she cited are those priorities for the president: school education choice, vouchers, and diminishing the role of teachers' unions.
The president is very supportive of both of those things, particularly when it comes to school choice. He has said that school choice is the civil rights issue of our time, and he wants every child, regardless of zip code, socioeconomic status, how much money their parents have, to be able to go to the school of their choosing that best suits their educational needs. And he is going to empower state and local leaders to make those decisions on behalf of our nation's children.
And you should be asking yourselves why anybody wouldn't want that. And the only reason I can come up with is because the teachers' unions lose their captive audiences. If you have to compete with the private schools, you have to do a better job of educating children. Right now, nobody's holding them accountable. Just like nobody was holding Homeless Inc. in Los Angeles accountable or in California accountable, which is why they were able to blow $24 billion. And the homeless problem only got exponentially worse. How many trillions of dollars have we spent on public education? Is it as good as it was when you were a kid? Of course not. It's been getting progressively worse and worse and worse. And now your kid isn't even safe on campus anymore. It's absolutely insane. And they're just going to throw more good money after bad. When we come back, my friends, Canada's gas prices just started going down because they got rid of the very thing that is raising gas prices here in Washington. I'll tell you what it is when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. I do feel fine because I know this climate change insanity is maybe coming to an end. So our friend Todd Myers over at the Washington Policy Center posted this today. He said Canada eliminated its federal carbon tax on Tuesday. Here's what happened. Gas prices fell by more than 50 cents a gallon. He said that last year we were told by Rachel Smith of the Seattle Chamber that if Washington got rid of its CO2 tax, prices might not go down. She was obviously wrong. Yes. And in addition to that, let's remember, we took a picture of gas prices on the first day, and then before this nonsense went into effect from the Climate Commitment Act, and then after it went into effect, and they started going up and up and up, and they haven't come back down yet. Came back down a little bit when people thought it might get repealed, and then they went back up, 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 up again. And if Democrats in Olympia have their way, things are going to get infinitely worse. They want to put on a 6 to 9 cent a gallon tax. And you may think that's no big deal. Well, they're already charging you 40 to 50 cents on top of that from last year. But this new tax is tied to inflation, which means it'll keep going up and up and up every single year. So while you watch gas prices come down, 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 down all over the country, that will never be us unless something drastic changes. That'll just keep happening. Gas prices will keep going up. Plus, this Climate Commitment Act nonsense, they're going to start selling less and less and less of those permits or those credits, those carbon credits for these companies, for the oil companies, which means that's going to get more expensive because then companies need to bid more money because there's less of this imaginary system they have concocted to artificially raise gas prices so they can just take money out of your pocket. Seriously, these guys are worse than Disney. They could teach Disney parks how to operate even better, make even more money. By the way, it's not just us doing this stupidity. It's also California. According to KTLA, as Californians continue to wonder why they suffer disproportionately at the pump compared to other states, a new study from a prominent researcher says the state's perpetually high gas prices are largely self-inflicted. No, really? Michael Mache with the USC Marshall School of Business recently published a study of California gasoline prices, diving into the reason why California is typically the most expensive state in the U.S. to fill up your vehicle. The conclusion, California's high gas prices are the result of directed policies and a litany of regulations, taxes, fees, and costs. Hey, anybody here in Washington, does this sound familiar to any of you? Anybody? Sounds exactly the same. Oh, wait a minute. Didn't we base our climate stupidity on them? That's exactly where we got the idea from. Jay Inslee never did his own homework. He copied off Gavin Newsom. It almost seems to me if Jay Inslee was a little cooler and Gavin Newsom was a little less cool, it'd be like Biff and George McFly. Oh, don't bring it over too early. I sleep in Sundays. Hey, McFly, your shoe's untied. Come on. Mache said the conclusion came after examining 50 years of gas prices throughout the state and analyzing what led to spikes and lulls. Quote, it is uniformly acknowledged that California has the most stringent regulatory environment for oil and gas companies in the world. Regulatory oversight, irrespective of one's political perspective, is layered into and accumulates throughout the supply chain, ultimately adding to the cost burdens of compliance for oil and gas industry operators, which in turn contribute to the higher consumer prices at the pump. Remember the story we did last week where we found out that the majority of gas pumps in our state are not even being inspected? So you guys claim that you care about the oil industry and gas industry, and you're not even expecting the oil pumps to make sure they are pumping out what they are actually pumping out. No, it's all an excuse to tax you more, to tax them more, because Democrats will never be satisfied with the money they have. Mache and other experts refuted Governor Gavin Newsom's claim that oil companies have been gouging California drivers for years, and that greed has played a larger role than policies and market forces. The governor has targeted the industry with investigations and legislation aimed at increasing transparency and keeping prices in check. Yeah, how's that working out for you? Because you still have the first highest or the second highest gas prices. I forget if Hawaii's more. You're definitely the most in the continental United States. But is Hawaii today higher than you or not? Don't forget, for a little while, we were higher than California and Hawaii. In a statement to KTLA, a spokesperson for Newsom says he has avoided severe gasoline price spikes, like the historic 2022 spike. Really? Because he just switched the state over to their spring-summer mix, which is really just an excuse to charge them more and tax them more. You don't need to be doing this stupidity. Anybody disagrees with me and thinks they know more about cars, you're welcome to call and argue this out with me. You'll lose. The, quote, law established the nation's first state-level independent petroleum watchdog, told Big Oil accountable. How's that working out? It's not holding Big Oil accountable. It's about taxing you more. It's about getting more of your money. Man, I wonder if Disneyland learned what it does from Gavin Newsom and the Democrats. The amount of money they suck out of you. I hear there's a new character at Disney. When you walk out the gates as you're leaving, he grabs you, flips you upside down, holds you by the ankles, and shakes you until every penny you have left in your pockets drops into his paw. He said his name was Goofy. I don't know if that's actually true or not. Lots more to discuss as the show continues. Are tariffs going to affect your wallet? Democrats are freaking out. Republicans are celebrating. Can we actually cut through the nonsense, noise, and confusion? I'll help you do that when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and on the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up at 5:45, your chance to win fantabulous prizes, including a $50 Daniels Broiler gift card and tickets to the Washington State Spring Fair. But before we get to any of that, stock market is closed for the day. When we first opened the show, it was just getting ready to close. People have had a chance to chill out, and now other news is breaking through the noise. But before we get to any of that, let me give you a little analogy. Have you seen the movie Moneyball? I love the movie Moneyball. It is so quotable. You know how Billy Beane, before he was a GM, and this is true, the movie did not embellish this. Before he was a GM, he was a player. And he got drafted very, very high, got paid a lot of money, and he wasn't such a good player. And you know when he's having the argument with the scouts, and he says, I've sat at those tables with you. I've told those parents what you tell, and you say, with your kid, I know. And with your kid, I know. But you don't. You don't. Anybody who tells you today that they know what's going on with the economy has no idea what they are talking about, including an economist. The only economists I have seen that are being honest are the ones who say, I think, or perhaps, or historically, this is what has happened. Anyone who goes, this is what's going to happen and Trump's going to destroy, they have no idea what they're talking about because nobody knows. There's too many variables. Are countries going to match their tariffs to the U.S.'s? Well, that's a mixed bag. Right before the tariffs were announced, Israel, Vietnam announced that they were dropping tariffs. Just now, we just got news that Argentina is in final negotiations with the U.S. to become the first zero tariff country. It's not finalized yet. Javier Milei, nobody should be surprised about this at all. He's their version of Donald Trump. But is this Trump's goal? Get everybody to zero tariffs, and then we can actually have free trade, not be the piggy bank for the rest of the world. Right now, it seems like every single trade deal we have is somehow we're getting screwed. Our jobs are getting shipped overseas. We're not doing any manufacturing here anymore. When's the last time you bought something that said made in America? Why do you go to Amazon? When you walk into a store here, you go, I could probably get it cheaper on Amazon because you're getting it from China. So, question is, are tariffs being used as leverage or not? So, here's something else, another good indicator. According to Reuters, GM is going to increase truck production in Indiana because they don't want to get hit with the tariffs. They plan to increase the production of light-duty trucks at its Fort Wayne, Indiana assembly plant. The CEO, Mary Barra, hinted at the possibility of increasing the output of trucks in the United States during GM's January earnings call in response to tariffs. So, look at that. Ford Motor Company is going a slightly different direction. U.S. shoppers will be able to save on Ford vehicles this spring through a new initiative called From America for America. American consumers, according to Fox News, will have access to Ford's employee pricing program from April 3rd through June 2nd. This means customers will pay the same amount as Ford's workers, which is below the dealer invoice price. You know what this is doing? It's saying, we know there's going to be tariffs because our jobs, our factories are elsewhere, but we're working on bringing them back here. So in the meantime, our plants will probably be up and running in June, but until we can move the production here, we don't want people to go to other companies like Tesla or Rivian or whatever else is made in America like Stellantis. So we're going to do this temporarily. Was today rough on the stock market? Absolutely. Did your 401k take a hit? Yeah. But what's happening right now? Look, Joe Biden said all the time, inflation, go up and then come back down. Donald Trump is saying, yeah, it's going to be painful for the short term and it's going to work out. That's what he's saying right now. Here's what Donald Trump said today.
I think it's going very well. It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is. We have $6 or $7 trillion coming into our country, and we've never seen anything like it. The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom, and the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal? They've taken advantage of us for many, many years. For many years, we've been at the wrong side of the ball, and I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be unbelievable. The thing that people have to talk about, we're up almost to $7 trillion of investment coming into our country, and you'll see how it's going to turn out. Our country's going to boom.
So, do you agree with the president or you disagree with the president? Give us a call or a text, 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Are you saying hold the line? Are you saying sell, sell, sell? Are you saying buy, buy, buy? And by that, I mean purchase, not, in Sync's version. According to Fox News, world leaders across the globe are reacting to President Donald Trump's Liberation Day tariff announcements, with some expressing disappointment and others making threats. On Wednesday, after the president announced the baseline tariff of 10% on imports in addition to reciprocal tariffs based on what each nation imposes on U.S. goods, Trump believes these tariffs will incentivize foreign investment, which they went from $5 trillion to $7 trillion in just a couple days, so that's clearly working. While several U.S. allies articulated their frustration with the tariffs, they also expressed a lack of interest in launching trade wars. Many called for negotiations with the U.S. for new trade agreements. This is going to take time, my friends. The problem is we're in the me generation, the iPhone generation. So everybody wants everything right now. I want to download my music right now. I want to download my movie right now. I want to stream today's episode now. I want that movie out of theaters. Is that what did it used to be, Mike? A movie would be in theaters for a minimum of a month, most likely 2 months, and then you have 6 months before the VHS DVD release at the short end of things. Now, what do we have? It's in theaters for a week, and the digital download is the next week or 2 weeks after that? They're really just doing it for opening day weekend right now. That's it. Oh, by the way, I've noticed how much the prices have spiked on my digital downloads, by the way. Don't blame tariffs for that one. That's because you're not going to movie theaters anymore. Mike and I know this. Movies come out on Tuesdays. Do they still come out on Tuesdays, Mike? Is that still the day they release them, or they just go, hell, we're just releasing this whenever. If you get it, you get it. If you see it, you see it. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen called the tariffs a major blow to the world economy. Von der Leyen said in a statement there would be countermeasures, though she did not specify what they would entail. Yeah, we're really scared of the Europeans. If you guys need us to come fight a war for you, you're on your own. Oh, wait a minute. That's kind of happening right now, isn't it? Meanwhile, China's foreign ministry said there are no winners in trade wars and tariff wars. Additionally, according to Reuters, Beijing is also planning to take countermeasures. Trump has taken an especially tough approach to China, which is already hit with a 20% tariff this year. China will now face a 34% reciprocal tariff, in addition to the 10% baseline imposed on all listed nations. You know what? It's funny to me to watch the Democrats go ballistic about China in particular. There was this Democrat. She's not a well-known Democrat. You might have heard. What's her last name? Her first name is Nancy. Her last name is something with a P. Oh, yeah, Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi. You might have heard of her. In 1996, here's what she said about tariffs on China.
In terms of tariffs, I think it's interesting to note that the average U.S. MFN tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States is 2%, whereas the average Chinese MFN tariff on U.S. goods going into China is 35%. Is that reciprocal? In terms of jobs, this is the biggest and cruelest hoax of all. The China trade supports 170,000 jobs in the United States, 170,000 jobs, whereas our imports from China support 10 million jobs at least. The fact is that U.S.-China trade is a job loser.
So, wait a minute. You guys were all for the tariffs before Donald Trump got involved and you were against them. So you were for it before you were against it? Oh, they're all pulling a John Kerry right now, aren't they, with regard to the Iraq war? I was for it until I was against it, right? That's what we're talking about? God, he sounds like Richard Nixon impression. I am not a crook. All the Democrats, all of them. Listen to Chuck Schumer in 2018.
Look, I think the president's doing the right thing. China has been taking advantage of us for two decades. They're stealing our intellectual property, which means stealing our good-paying jobs. And I, frankly, am closer on this issue, not on many, but on this issue with President Trump than I was with Presidents Bush or Obama, because they did nothing to tell China off. Now, China, of course, will respond. But if they know we're strong and we're not going to back off, they will back off. They have far more to lose than we do. They have a $300 billion trade surplus with us. So I'm looking out, number one, for jobs. You know, if General Electric moves jobs to China, they're not unhappy, but my New York workers in Schenectady are unhappy. And so you can't let the international business companies who don't give a hoot about where their factories are govern this. You have to do what's good for the American worker.
So what's good for the American worker? Fox News has a story for us.
We were waiting to confirm this directly with General Motors, and now we have. And you tell me if this is already a sign that things are happening in President Trump's favor. A General Motors spokesperson is now confirming there was a webcast to employees a short time ago. GM will be making operational adjustments at its Fort Wayne assembly, including hiring temporary employees to support current manufacturing and business needs. We continuously update and revise production schedules as part of our standard process of evaluating and aligning to manage vehicle inventory. This after initially Reuters was reporting on that webcast that they're going to be adding overtime hours for their employees, and they're going to be bringing some of that. They're going to be increasing the production of their light-duty trucks at that American facility.
So it seems like the industry is coming back. It seems like the manufacturing is coming back. That's one part of this equation. The other part of the equation is the tariffs themselves, which means are other countries going to say we're going to lift our tariffs on U.S. goods or lower our tariffs on U.S. goods? Because it's crazy to me. When we saw those charts, we started reading them for you on air yesterday of what these other countries charge us, and we're a fraction of that, if we're even charging them at all. Our friend Batya Ungar Sargon was on Fox News this morning, talking about this.
Let's be clear about what we're seeing right now. This market sell-off is Wall Street trying to short President Trump's agenda. They are betting against the American worker. It's utterly despicable. Instead of doing what President Trump is doing, which is saying we're going to invest heavily in our middle class. We are no longer going to be a country in which our economy is an upward funnel of wealth from the hardest working Americans into the pockets of the international global elites. Wall Street is trying to control the president's agenda with this totally anti-American sell-off. And I think it's unbelievable that the president is not caving and that he is standing strong with the agenda that he promised the American people. This is what he was given a mandate to do. And it is so exciting to see somebody actually make good on the promises they made to the American people.
Because don't forget the rule of the stock market. Buy low, sell high. Sell high, buy low. So you sell at the top of the market when you think it's going to come down. And then tomorrow you pick it up the exact same shares for a fraction of the price. It's not just Wall Street doing this. Some Republicans are helping the Democrats in Wall Street as well. According to Fox News, a Democrat-led resolution undoing President Donald Trump's tariffs against Canada advanced past the Senate on Wednesday after multiple Republicans joined their counterparts in supporting it. Now, Republican Senator Susan Collins of Maine, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, and Mitch McConnell, and Rand Paul, by the way, supported the resolution. Now, there's a video that came out of Mitch McConnell afterwards. The guy is clearly not present. I don't mean Joe Biden not present. I mean frozen in his wheelchair like that guy from Breaking Bad who eventually blows up with the bell. That's what Mitch McConnell looked like last night. Who's doing the voting for him? The guy's not even present at all. This is like Joe Biden all over again. If we're going to call it out with Joe Biden, we got to call it out for people on our own side. The final vote was 51-48. So McConnell said in a statement afterwards, because he can't talk without freezing up anymore. As I've always warned, tariffs are bad policy. Trade wars with our partners hurt working people the most. Tariffs drive up the cost of goods and services. Well, yeah, but all these other countries are doing it to us. Don't you actually want free trade? Don't you actually want to be on a level playing field? Let me know what you think. Do you think we should stay the course? Do you agree with this Senate vote that just went on? Give us a call or a text, 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. You're not going to know the answer to this. Not next week, not the week after, not the week after that. You may not know for years, literally, because a plant doesn't come online like that. And already the Democrats and a couple of Republicans are absolutely panicking. Senate Majority Whip John Barrasso slammed the resolution's passage, saying in a statement, Senator Kane's goal was not to make law. It was simply an effort to undermine President Trump's successful work to secure the northern border. Speaker Johnson already declared Senator Kane's resolution dead on arrival in the House of Representatives. It'll never make it to President Trump's desk. This meaningless messaging resolution will not stop Senate Republicans from making Americans' communities safer. Because don't forget, there are multiple aspects of this. Bring back American jobs. Bring back American manufacturing. Do you know what the Biden administration solution for that was? Let's employ as many people as possible by the government. That's right. Everybody's going to work for Brondo. And then Brondo's going to buy every level of the food pyramid, and Brondo's got what plants crave. That was the Biden administration's economic policy. Inflate the dollar by spending because you need to print more money to pay off the crazy debt you're doing and hire as many people as possible. Donald Trump says free market, free trade is the way to do that. So, in addition to that, can we get an even playing field on the tariffs on the goods? And in addition to that, can we use this as leverage to secure our borders? Because you have to have these other countries wanting to stop the fentanyl. You can send as many troops to the border as you want, but if they're not told to stop the illegal immigrants and stop the fentanyl, then you're still going to have the exact same problems. You can stand there all you want, looking as tough as you want with all your gear on, but if you're not going to do anything, it's not going to accomplish anything. So the statement continued under Joe Biden's failed leadership. Criminal networks, fentanyl, terrorists ran rampant along the northern border. Today's stunt by Tim Kaine proves again how woefully out of touch the Democrat Party is with American people as they use a matter of national security for political gamesmanship. The stakes are too high to reverse course. The declaration must stay in place. 1,000% correct. How's this working out overall? What President Trump say today?
And energy costs now are down, groceries are down, gasoline is way under $3, and people are beginning to be able to buy things and live again. We brought prices way down. We created 10,000 already in a few weeks, new manufacturing jobs, and it was that took place in 1 month, numbers that they haven't seen in a long time. We had virtually no inflation under my term. We had virtually no inflation for 4 years.
Now, there's one caveat on all of this. Anybody who claims they understand all of this, unless they're an economist, and a lot of time when they are an economist, is lying to you. They're lying to you. At the end of the day, politically, you know what matters most? How the American people see this. MSNBC, CNN, Democrats, they all understand that. So it's panic, 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 panic. It's like that scene in Airplane when they announce they've run out of coffee and everybody starts tearing apart the airplane. That's what's going on right now. They want you to be scared. They want you to panic. Because if the American people panic and turn on Donald Trump, Democrats win elections. If the American people say, hey, we have faith in this, we want this to continue, we think it's going to end up okay on the other side, then Donald Trump's okay. The question is, does the average American understand this? Because the average American is seeing some prices come down, but groceries are still very, very expensive. And things are about to get a little bit more expensive. They're seeing what's happening to their 401ks. They are absolutely freaking out, some of them right now. And does this change Donald Trump's polling? But here's a different question. Does it put a lot of people in the undecided category, or does it actually support the Democrats? Because right now, according to CNN, Democrats aren't benefiting off any of this.
Holy Toledo. Voters' views of the Democrats in Congress among all voters disapprove. 68%. And look at the approved number, just 21%, even lower than the Democratic Party at large. This is the lowest on record for Democrats, according to Quinnipiac University polling. You think these numbers are bad? Let's go to this side of the screen. We'll look how Democratic voters feel. Get this. The plurality of Democratic voters disapprove of Democrats in Congress at 49%, and just 40% approve. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Oh, my goodness gracious, you just can't get worse than these numbers.
And this is the number right here really driving all of this. If Democratic voters have turned on Democrats in Congress and the Democratic Party, that's what puts the numbers at historic lows. What is it they want to be seeing, these voters?
What is going on? I'll tell you what's going on. They don't like what's coming out of some of those Senate Democrats like Chuck Schumer, because take a look at the direction of the party. Democratic voters on Democrats in Congress doing too little to oppose Donald Trump. Look at this. 77% should stay principled, even if it means nothing gets done in Washington, D.C. 65%. And this 65% is such a difference from where we were in 2017 at this point, when just 33% of Democrats say they should stay principled, compared to 59% who said they want to compromise. Democrats do not want compromise at this point. They want a fighter. They want to go into the ring like Muhammad Ali did against Sonny Liston. They want to take down the Republicans. They do not want this compromise anymore. They want to be more like Republicans, get up to that stage and fight. And right now they feel like their leaders in Congress are simply put not doing so. And that is why their approval rating for congressional Democrats is at an all-time low, even among Democrats with more disapproving than approving.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Now I'm heading on over to the Warrior Injury Law text line. And what am I seeing here from you guys? Dennis says stay the course. 360 says stay the course. Ted says stay the course. Free trade needs to be fair trade. This is what I'm seeing across this. Forrest Cat says, I'm old enough to remember when the conventional wisdom was that the Dow would never reach 10,000. We are now at 40,000 plus. I'm not the least bit worried about 1,500 points. My portfolio is solid. Here's another one here. This one from the 253, a good question. Can you explain to me more about Canada's tariffs on the U.S.? Because I don't think there were any or many, and you're 100% right. According to Fox News, while Trump did not issue any additional tariffs against Canada following the 25% tariffs already in place, the 10% tariff on its energy exports, and the blanket tariff on all aluminum and steel, he did announce a 25% tariff on all foreign vehicle imports. Now, you have to understand Canada's a little different. Canada has this guy, Carney, who's their current prime minister, who replaced Justin Trudeau, who wasn't voted into the office. And Carney knows that if he fights Donald Trump, the lefties in Canada are going to support him, which is why his polling is going up. Trudeau had to leave office. If he had held on a few more months, he may have been able to retain his seat. Pierre Poilievre was kicking his butt now, but now the Conservative Party is going down, and this is another X factor. A country like Canada looks at this and goes, it's an opportunity for the left to win by saying, we're challenging the Orange Man. Orange Man bad. We're going to win. So that's another X factor that plays into all this. 253, I hope that answers your question. Remember, if you want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, my friends, lots more of your calls, lots more of your texts, plus a notorious homeless encampment is removed in Seattle, only to pop up 2 blocks over. Yeah, typical day in Seattle. We have the Todd Herman's Daily Thoughtcast coming up right now on the Ari Hoffman Show. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Remember, coming up at 5:45, your chance to win fantabulous prizes, including a $50 Daniel's Broiler gift card and tickets to the Washington State Spring Fair. Yet another reason to always keep your radio tuned to 570 KVI. Left on your dial, always right on the issues. You can also stream us at KVI.com, download the KVI app, and, of course, subscribe to us on whatever your preferred podcast platform is. We go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line, take a call from Kevin in Seattle. Kevin, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you doing today?
Good. What's going on?
Well, I just wanted to talk about the luxury tax on the boating industry that's being proposed with Senate Bill 5801. I am actually the head chair for government affairs for the Northwest Yacht Brokers Association, so I've been pushing this pretty hard for awareness campaign. And this Senate bill got slipped in the last minute on Thursday last week, and it takes on boats, RVs, and aircraft, anything over $500,000. They're going to do a luxury tax at 10% additional on anything over $500,000, and a car that's $100,000. Anything over above that is going to be taxed at 10%. And they're slating this as like the rich tax, but it's really not. It's more of the worker tax and how it affects our industry as a whole. And it's not just brokers; it's the whole industry.
Well, let me make the case. Let me make the case for you here, Kevin. I'm going to do this for you. Here you go. You get a pitch with no payment here. Here we go. Okay, so I got this for you.
Excellent.
Because what happens? You think, oh, the rich guy buys a yacht. And you think, oh, he's got the millions of dollars to spend on a yacht. Well, don't forget who's building that yacht. It's the blue-collar workers. Don't forget who's selling that yacht. Don't forget all the parts that make up that yacht. So what's going to happen is the rich guy is going to say, you know what, I'm not going to buy this here in Seattle anymore, or I'm going to take my business to another state, just like they are already doing with the trucks and RVs, because the people are so short-sighted here in Washington. The Democrats are so short-sighted, they're saying, yeah, we're going to kill an entire industry because taxes or because climate change. Somebody is building that RV. Somebody is buying that. Somebody's building that car. Somebody is building that yacht. And those are the jobs that are getting affected, not the rich guy. He'll just take his business somewhere else like Jeff Bezos did. Kevin, did I do okay for you there?
You did great, and that's exactly it. They have options. I mean, we've got boats under contract that are worth millions of dollars, and the buyers of those boats are saying, well, we're just going to go to Florida with our boat for a couple of years, let the luxury tax fail, because it has failed in the past. In 91, when the federal luxury tax was in place, and currently in Canada with their current luxury tax, and boat sales are down 85%. Boat builders are going out of business for this reason. And Florida has a flat $18,000 cap on sales tax for yachts. Any boats
Kevin,
in general.
I want you to do me a favor. Okay? Send me a press release or a write-up on this, because I'll cover it in more depth and more detail. Email it to me at ari@kvi.com, okay? ari@kvi.com. I'm on your side with this one, okay?
Got it.
All right, send that on over to me.
So much.
We'll cover it in lots more detail, because it's the workers that are getting hurt in all this, and Democrats claim they care about the workers, and nobody is tracking this at all because the Democrats kicked all the reporters out of the wings of the Senate. So, Kevin, appreciate the call. Appreciate you bringing attention to this issue, my friend. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go back to the Warrior Injury Law studio line. Take a call from George and Kenmore. George, what's going on?
Hey, Ari. Before I was the Navy guy, I was a geological engineer at University of Utah back in the glory days of the Carlin Cortez gold mining in Nevada. And of course, the copper mines all produce huge amounts of gold. And you'll see that Arizona's doing really well. Some of the mining companies there. Anyway, I keep seeing and hearing these people call crypto digital gold. So I'm like, how is that digital gold doing anyway? You know, and even gold went up and then came down. So everything's down. Price of oil went up a little bit, but bottom line is this is just overreaction. People that invest in gold don't realize there's nothing made from gold other than jewelry and little tiny bit on some circuit boards.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, George, is that most of the people on the text line agree with you. So it says here, this one from the 951, it says, we need to support our leader, stop the haters who just want to stop President Trump. Pam from Lake Stevens says, stay the course. And this seems like what everybody's saying. Everybody says, stop freaking out. And I'll say this again one more time, George, is that anybody who says they know what's going to happen, they don't know. They don't know. Nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody has a DeLorean time machine. They are just guessing. They are just guessing and thinking they're right. I'll give you the last word, then I got to run.
Remember when the monkey beat all the stock traders back in the 70s?
I remember reading about that. Absolutely.
None of them have technical degrees, just like my buddy Reuben Carlisle. He made that cap text.
Yes, Reuben Carlisle, the man who stood between me and old-fashioned and a lamb burger. I don't let that slide. I do like sliders, my friend. George, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, John Carlson's last show is going to be tomorrow morning. Have a little preview and tribute to our friend John. When we come back, you're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. You all know that music very, very well because that's what you hear at the opening of every hour for John Carlson's show. I know it very well from when I fill in for John Carlson and when I used to listen to John Carlson back when I was a consumer of talk radio before I was part of talk radio.
It's so transportative. I forgot what time it was. It's like, is it the other 5:30?
You triggered me for a second there because I'm like, wait, hang on. What's happening here? Is it like 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm filling in for John? It just transports you right away. Tomorrow is John Carlson's last show on KVI after 30 years in the industry. That's huge. And young Zach's been putting together some tributes, and everybody here has been working on the event we have coming up tomorrow. And I just keep hearing these stories because I've only been in the industry for 4 years. I came along toward the end of John's career. And I hear the stories of John going to the Puyallup Fair, not the Washington State Fair, with Rush Limbaugh coming out here to campaign for him when he was running for governor. And what happens? Tells all these stories about the crowd they had at the fair, the tons of people that came out to see this whole thing. John's career in talk radio, he's seen it all. He has seen it all. He's a staple. He's like the Space Needle. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like without him because I'm so used to having him here. Old reliable. And I'm not calling him old, but that's really what he is. John Carlson has been such a good friend, so supportive. Oh, who's this young guy, Ari Hoffman? Sure, we had him on the show a couple times, but yeah, treat you like a member of the club. No hazing, no nothing, just how can I help you? How can I help you be more successful? Ooh, Ari, good to see you, right? That's John Carlson. Sweetest man ever. Plus, I think John Carlson was a spy in another life because at events, he just kind of appears and then disappears. Where'd John go? I have no idea. He just shows up from out of nowhere.
I am not unconvinced that John Carlson is actually the Batman. Because like that is a true story. Like there have been so many times where I've seen it both directions where John will just manifest and then he will disappear. It's like, hey, where'd John go? And I'm like, I don't know. It's like, where did he go? John Carlson is many things, and he is, I've known him to never be late, and I've never known him to be early. He will get there exactly on time, to the tick.
Yes.
But no early.
So
no earlier and no later.
I want all of you to do me a favor right now. If you're a fan of John Carlson's show, I want you to do me a favor. We're going to have a little fun with the morning show, and I want you to help me with it, okay? They have the same text line we do. They use the same software we do. I want you to send a text of a note for John. So that way in the morning when young Zach and Phil and everybody gets in the morning, it's going to be sitting here waiting for them. I'll tell them to look for it, right? I'll tell them to scroll back and look for it. But I want you to write for John and then write your message. Send it to 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Send text messages to wish John well for his last show tomorrow morning. So when he gets into the studio, he is surrounded with all the love. This will all be here waiting for him. It'll all be sitting here. 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757.
Yeah, favorite stories, favorite moments, favorite memories of John, because like he touched our lives in a number of different ways. And like you were saying a moment ago, Ari, John has always been warm and welcoming to everybody who has come through these doors.
Yep.
And I had a very similar experience where it's like, I'm the weekend guy, and suddenly I'm running the board on the John Carlson show, and I would make mistakes and things like that. And he was always supportive and enthusiastic and casual. It'd just be like, that's all right. That's all right. Just very go along to get along. From what I understand, though, both you and I, Ari, we've kind of entered John's life at a time where apparently he's mellowed some. His seasoning and experience has made him more amenable to newer folks coming in. But that's the only John that I've known. It's like he's like we've been sidekicks on the Veterans Day parade, on the Nimitz, or walking in the rain or whatever. I had forgotten how many times I had done that parade with him as I was looking for pictures to contribute to the montage and stuff. And yeah, it's like, me and John have been through it. We're Veterans Day parade buddies, but yeah, his wisdom, his depth of knowledge, that's just something that is impossible to replace. And I know I will miss it every day I don't wake up in the morning to listen to the radio.
Well, I'll tell you one quick thing about John, or a couple quick things just before we finish out the segment, is that when John Carlson's done here, his thing is, yes, he was in radio for 30 years, but you know how many police officers he's helped through the Police Foundation? And also, I'll tell you something else. If John Carlson's kids are around, you know John Carlson's kids are around because John Carlson shows them off like you wouldn't believe. Radio's his job, and he's good at it, and he's amazing at it, but he's a great father, and he's great at community service and helping out the community and helping out the police officers. Here's something else just for me. My first Roanoke conference, which is like the CPAC around here, I go, and John Carlson is emceeing the thing, and that's considered a big, big honor at CPAC. And John could be shaking hands and kissing babies or doing whatever he's doing, and he goes, Ari, come here, I want you to meet this person. Ari, come here, I want you to meet this person. You're new to this. I want you to meet this person. I want you to meet this person. John's the one who introduced me to Brandy Cruz. that was John, and now we have Brandy on every week. In fact, she'll be on the show tomorrow. That is what John does. That is who John is. He's one of the nicest, sweetest, most genuine people. It's not just about being a radio host. He is the real deal. I'm really going to miss him around here. Really, really going to miss him.
Well, and he's the real deal and generous and kind, all of those things. And his legacy even goes beyond radio. It's you can't hear Three Strikes and not think of John Carlson.
Mm-hmm.
Like actual legislation.
Exactly.
And contribution to law enforcement. And yeah, it's Ari, right now in real time, I'm just now reconciling with the fact we've been running promos all day, but like tomorrow's John's last show.
Yeah.
And that's it's certainly going to be a bittersweet affair. A stacked lineup of guests coming up, folks wishing John well. But again, as we get ready to transition, please load up the text line 206-421-5757 with well wishes, favorite stories, favorite memories, and let's really send John off in style.
Now I'm seeing some of you send in texts. I want more. I'm like Kylo Ren in that awful Star Wars movie. More, give me more. Send us more text for John at 206-421-5757. Even if it's just to say, John, thanks for everything, best wishes. Even if it's something that simple, 206-421-5757. Don't say like, have a good summer. Don't do the yearbook thing, okay, guys? Don't do that.
It's been real. It's been fun. But Ari, you said something that just really struck a chord with me. The thing I want to say more than anything else, thank you.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Don't forget to tune in to John's last show tomorrow morning from 6 to 9 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Only good news to wrap up the show. Your good news giveaway, your good news headlines, your chance to win a $50 Daniels Broiler gift card and tickets to the Washington State Spring Fair. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. It is time to feel good as we wrap up another amazing episode of the Ari Hoffman Show right here on Talk Radio 570 KVI. And before we get to our good news giveaway and our good news headlines, just a quick reminder, send us a text at 206-421-5757 for goodbye messages for John Carlson for his last show tomorrow morning. That way they'll be waiting for him in the morning when he gets in. Send your text to 206-421-5757. Mike found this story from the National Desk. A family was taking photos with the cherry blossoms in D.C.'s Tidal Basin. It looks like they're near the Jefferson Memorial. I think I know exactly where they are. On Monday, when this cute little girl, cute little boy are standing right there with the Washington Monument behind them and the cherry blossoms in front of them, and somebody just walks into the picture. And do you know who that person was?
Obama.
That's right. Barack Obama accidentally photobombed this family. He's just walking behind them. And by the way, he is completely oblivious to the fact that this picture is even being taken. I don't know if that's exactly. Well, he seems to be. Later afterwards, when he was asked about it, he said, "My bad," which at least he's got a sense of humor about it a little bit.
The legend begins right here.
I wouldn't call him a legend, Hank Williams. Legendarily bad. Exactly. It's a very cute picture, by the way. It's a very funny picture because he's so oblivious. It looks like two different pictures. It looks like he was photoshopped in, but it's legit. So anyway, maybe I'll share this online because it's kind of funny. Before I forget, your chance to win fantabulous prizes. Today we're giving away a $50 Daniel's Broiler gift card. Daniel's Broiler has been a Seattle favorite since 1980. Features USDA prime steak and other specialties, including chicken and fresh seafood, as well as a selection of high-end spirits, wine, and cocktails. Daniel's Broiler is open now in Bellevue, downtown Seattle, Leschi, and South Lake Union with dine-in, takeout, and delivery. Check out danielsbroiler.com to reserve a table, place your takeout, delivery order, and more. We're also giving away a copy of 7 Steps to a Successful Retirement and a bonus of the Little Red Book of Retirement by Brian Evans of Madrona Financial and CPAs. Learn how to design your retirement to support your quality of life for 30-plus years from Brian Evans of Madrona Financial and CPAs, a local company working to help you grow deep financial roots. So future financial storms don't blow your life savings away. Visit MadronaFinancial.com for more information and discover how you can create a rooted wealth plan today. Last, but certainly not least, we are giving away 6 tickets to the Washington Spring Fair, April 10th through 13th and 17th through 20th. Get your tickets now at thefair.com. That's thefair.com. All you have to do in order to win these fantabulous prizes is be caller number 10 at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Caller number 10 will win a $50 Daniel's Broiler gift card, a copy of 7 Steps to a Successful Retirement, and a bonus of the Little Red Book of Retirement by Brian Evans of Madrona Financial and CPAs, plus 6 tickets to the Washington State Spring Fair. Phone lines are open now. Give Mike a call for your chance to win at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Don't forget to tune in for John Carlson's last show tomorrow morning from 6 to 9 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 570 KVI. That's going to do it for us today, my friends, but fear not, we'll be back tomorrow with more insane stories, more exciting guests, and of course, more giveaways. You've been listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI.